Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. You made it. We are halfway through the week. I hope that this devotion finds you doing well. And I want to apologize that this is a little bit later in the day than I normally have my devotionals, but I had a very full day of ministry, and my last meeting just ended about 15 minutes ago. So, speaking of halfway, since it is a Wednesday, I wanted to talk about the spirituality of the halfway point. So, all of you know, I think by now, that I'm training for the virtual Boulder. And the Boulder is a 10K in Colorado. I used to run it in person, but now with COVID and living in Montana, I am doing a virtual run of it. And so a 10K is 6.1 miles. It's about 6 miles. And so I have been working on getting faster, and I have been working on going further. My goal would be to do all 6 miles at about 10 and a half minutes, all 6 miles. So that would be awesome. That is my goal. We will see what happens. I keep training for it. But something happens every single night, because at this point I'm pushing 4 miles, and then I'll go up to 5 miles, and then I'll go up to 6 miles. But something always happens after mile 2. Mile 2 gets there, and I go, oh no, are we really only halfway through? Are we really only halfway through for the evening? I don't want to have to repeat the distance that I just did. I thought it was closer than I was. I looked down at my Apple Watch on my Nike Run app, and I'm like, seriously? We're only to 2 miles. We have to get to 4. Well, there's a story that goes along with this on how our perception and our mentality in doing things, including running, can kind of ruin stuff for us. In 2009, Jenny Berringer was favored to win the NCAA cross-country championship race. At first, Jenny confidently held the lead. Surely she'd win the coveted first place title, but midway through the race, something happened. Jenny's pace slowed considerably. Runners who trailed her slowly whizzed past, leaving Jenny gasping for breath. She dropped to 10th place, then 20th. Struggling to keep up, she later crossed the finish line in 169th place. This is a true story. When questioned after the race as to what happened, Jenny explained, halfway into it, I didn't feel so good. It was sudden. I thought I couldn't run. And it wasn't an injury that slowed her down. It was her mentality. It was her perception. Discouraging thoughts literally paralyzed her, leading her to panic. So my question for you is, how do you approach the midway, halfway points in your life? Whether it is a project or something at work or at school. Maybe it's through something really challenging in one of your relationships, like you feel like you're about to break through in marriage, or in your issues with your child that you have. Maybe it's halfway through points on a ministry dream or a recovery period in your health, and you feel like you're so close to just that success that you're hoping that the recent surgery you had would do for your body. Whatever the halfway point is, our perception and our mentality matters. It really does determine the outcome and how much effort we're going to put from midway all the way through the finish line. In the Old Testament, the prophet Nehemiah was at a crucial turning point. He'd reached the halfway mark in rebuilding the broken walls of Jerusalem. He was compelled to undertake the impossible task, and the odds were against him. He led the Jewish people for 26 days in an ultra building campaign. This is like the most amazing capital campaign of a church ever. And then all of Nehemiah's enemies started taunting and threatening him. He was midway, halfway through, he had to make the choice. And it was up here and it was here. It was in the heart and it was in the head. Was he going to allow criticism and his enemies to discourage him and stop the efforts? Or was he going to continue to persevere and decide to succeed in the remaining work? Alan Redpath writes, "The halfway stage is the toughest of all. When the initial enthusiasm for something has departed, you are more conscious not so much of what has already been done, but of what is yet to be done. You are increasingly impressed with the magnitude of the unfinished task. If we aren't further along than we expect in our halfway points, we become vulnerable and intimidation gets the best of us." So in the book of Nehemiah, and I'll read a little bit of Nehemiah to you right now, Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6. "We rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all of their heart." So Nehemiah chose to embrace faith in God instead of allowing the discouragement of his enemies and the exhaustion to allow him to be defeated. He challenged the people with powerful words. "Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord. God is great and awesome." And he chose to put their mind in the right perspective. They had the right mindset, and they had a compassionate, courageous heart. Nehemiah reminded the people that there was no reason for fear because God was with them. The opposite of discouragement is faith. And while discouragement looks and believes in the worst, faith believes in God and God's promises. So tonight, I would encourage you to identify where you are in your halfway point, in whatever season of life you're in. How are you feeling right now? Are you like me, where you're kind of going, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this exact same thing again, another 2 miles. I know once I get up to 6 miles, I'm going to go, okay, 3 miles, that's a 5K. Now I have to double it. Are you serious? Another 3 miles?" But the thing is, running is incredibly mental. It is. Yes, it helps to have muscles and endurance and to stretch beforehand and all of those things, but running is mental. And the reality is, everything is mental. So whatever challenge you have right now in your life, whatever season you're in, and you're really getting that hard point where it's midway, you're starting to feel discouragement, you're starting to feel the weariness set in, make a choice, a conscientious choice that you are going to trust God and have faith and that you will succeed. Deuteronomy 31:8 says, "It is the Lord that goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear and do not be dismayed." I want to thank Lisa Pruitt, who is a runner and a dear friend, for the inspiration of tonight's devotional. Wherever you are in your midway point, know that God is with you just like God was with Nehemiah, and together you will succeed. Bye.